Welcome to another story made by Oracle One. The semester at Grantham University had settled into its usual rhythm: classes, late-night study sessions, and sporadic bursts of social activities. For Emma, a second-year English major, the campus life was a blend of excitement and weariness. She lived in one of the older dorms on campus, a sprawling brick building with ivy crawling up its walls, whispering stories from the past. Emma had always felt something odd about the place, a subtle chill or the sensation of being watched, but she chalked it up to her overactive imagination and the many horror novels she adored. It all began on a rainy Tuesday evening when Emma decided to reorganize her closet. The dorm room was shared with another student, but for the first few weeks of the semester, her assigned roommate had not moved in yet. Names were swapped and rooms shuffled until Emma found herself alone, or so she thought. While pulling out old boxes tucked away in the furthest corner, she stumbled upon a weathered cardboard box she had never seen before. The box was unlabeled, its corners stained and torn as if no one had touched it for decades. Curiosity gripped her, and she pried the lid open, peering inside with eager eyes. What she found was bewildering: stacks of photographs, worn notebooks, letters yellowed with age, and various trinkets that seemed out of place in a modern college dorm room. The items looked to be from the late 1960s or early 1970s, judging by the hairstyles and clothing in the pictures. Emma's heartbeat quickened as she sifted through the images. Groups of students posing in front of the dorm, snapshots of late-night study sessions, and portraits of one young woman who appeared repeatedly. The girl, or rather, woman, had striking dark eyes and an intense gaze that seemed to pierce directly through the photograph. Her name was scrawled on the back of one picture: Marianne. Intrigued, Emma began organizing the contents on her bed. There was a diary, its leather cover cracked and fragile. Gingerly, she opened it and began reading entries dated 1971. Marianne wrote about the monotony of college life, feelings of loneliness, and strange occurrences she'd experienced in the dorm. She mentioned hearing voices in the walls, whispers from empty rooms, and sightings of shadowy figures that vanished when approached. Emma's skin prickled as the diary spoke vividly of a creeping presence that grew more insistent as the semester wore on, unsettling Marianne's mind and plaguing her nights with nightmares. A chill ran down Emma's spine. How had she never heard of any roommate named Marianne who had lived with her or even at the dorm at this time? The university archives were notorious for incomplete records given the building's age, but it was strange that no mention existed at all. What was stranger still was that every mention of Marianne seemed to disappear from official school yearbooks and records, as if she had been erased from the campus's history. Determined to learn more, Emma set out to ask around. She visited the dormitory front office, the campus library, and even the alumni center. Most staff members met her inquiries with confused looks or polite dismissals. "I don't know anyone by that name," one librarian said. "You aren't pulling my leg? We keep pretty meticulous records," added a campus official. Night after night, Emma approached classmates, friends, and older students who might know something, but none had ever heard of Marianne. Suddenly, subtle changes began to enter Emma's waking life. She started hearing footfalls in the hallways when alone, catching glimpses of a slender figure just out of sight. Her phone's battery inexplicably drained every time she sat alone in her room. Lights flickered during the late hours, though the electrical system had no faults on inspection. Emma chalked these up to the quirks of an aging building and her restless mind fueled by the diary's eerie contents. Yet, inexplicable feelings of dread gnawed at her. A creeping sensation that someone was lingering just beyond perception. One evening, after a study session in the cramped campus library, Emma felt compelled to return directly to her dorm room rather than meeting friends for dinner. As she unlocked the door, she noticed the box of Marianne's belongings had shifted. It was closer to the foot of her bed than where she left it. With tentative hands, she moved the box back to its original corner and sat on the bed, flipping through the photographs again. This time, something in the images unnerved her. Marianne's eyes seemed to follow her, growing darker and more hollow with each flip of the page. Emma shut the photo album quickly. A soft rustling came from the corner where the box sat. She froze, eyes wide. The air grew cold, breath visible despite the mild autumn heat. Slowly, almost imperceptibly, the room felt smaller, as if the walls themselves were drawing closer. From the shadows of the closet came a faint whisper, "Emma." It was barely audible, like wind brushing against leaves, but she heard it clear as day. Her heart thundered in her chest as she called out, "Who's there?" No response. The whispering stopped. The room returned to its normal atmosphere, though the chill lingered. Her mind raced, struggling to explain what she had just experienced. Was it her imagination, the residual haunting Marianne's diary spoke of, or something else entirely? Determined to uncover the truth, Emma revisited the diary. One entry stood out, the last one dated shortly before the college's winter break in 1971. "I am trapped inside these walls. No one remembers me here anymore. If my words survive, may someone find them and know I was real. The darkness knows no bounds. I don't think I will make it to next semester." The entry ended with a hurried scrawl that looked almost frantic. The penmanship was wild and spattered with ink blots. Emma felt a wave of pity and fear. Had Marianne died here? Was that why no one remembered her? The idea that Marianne was trapped in some liminal place, forgotten by time and memory, chilled Emma to the core. She considered telling someone but feared sounding insane. That night, Emma dreamt of the dorm locked in darkness. She saw Marianne's face close up, eyes pleading, reaching out for help. The room stretched and folded in impossible shapes, twisting like a funhouse mirror, reality bending itself in on her. Emma awoke gasping, heart pounding, sticky sweat clinging to her skin. The next day, she found more clues. Hidden inside one of the old books tucked in the box was a faded newspaper clipping from 1972. Its headline read, "Student missing from Grantham dorm. Marianne Wolfe vanishes without a trace." The article detailed police investigation, unfruitful searches, and rampant speculation about the disappearance. The last known sighting was in the dorm itself, after which all signs of her vanished. Authorities had found no evidence of foul play, and the case grew cold. Emma's breath caught when she noticed the dorm featured in the photo was undeniably her own building. The exterior matched the brick and ivy perfectly. She could almost see the exact window from her room in the image. That evening, darkness seemed to thicken around the building. Shadows stretched unnaturally long, and the usual hum of nocturnal city life was absent. The faint whispering returned in her room, but this time louder and pleading. "Help me," it said plainly. Emma knew the next step. She had to confront whatever was lingering. Gathering the diary, photographs, and a small flashlight, Emma ventured into the basement of the dormitory, a place few visited. The basement was a tangled maze of brick walls, old pipes, and forgotten storage rooms. According to Marianne's diary, the darkness she described seemed to originate from beneath the building. Emma's flashlight flickered intermittently as she crept down the harsh concrete stairs, the damp air thick with mold and decay. In a dusty storage closet marked with peeling paint and cobwebs, Emma found a narrow opening, a crawlspace, concealed behind a loose wooden panel. Her heartbeat surged, but she forced herself through the cramped passage. It led into a hidden chamber carved beneath the foundations, a space filled with rusting lockers and broken chairs coated in decades of dust. On the far wall, crudely scratched into the concrete, was Marianne's name, repeated over and over, like a desperate chant etched by fingernails. The air here was colder, heavier. The flashlight flickered once more and died entirely. Emma sat in the suffocating black, straining her ears. A soft voice spoke directly into her mind now, Marianne's voice, fragile and broken. I am not gone. I am trapped. I exist between walls, between seconds, between memories. You must remember me or I fade forever. Emma clenched the diary tight. What do you want me to do? Tell my story. Remember me while you breathe. Do not forget, or I vanish to nothingness. The voice faded like mist. With trembling hands, Emma marked the concrete near the inscriptions with chalk, tracing Marianne's life and pain as best she could reconstruct from the diary. She whispered all the entries aloud, calling Marianne's name into the empty chamber. Slowly, the oppressive cold began to lift, replaced by a subtle warmth that brushed against Emma's cheeks like a grateful breath. Emerging back into the dorm basement's stale air, Emma wiped tears from her eyes. She knew the truth now. Marianne was a forgotten student erased from history, caught in a shadow dimension folded inside the dorm walls, desperate for remembrance. Emma had given her a voice once more. In the following days, Emma took the diary to the campus historian, whose curiosity was finally piqued by the mystery. The story spread quietly among staff and students. The university arranged a small memorial for Marianne Wolfe, and her picture was added to an updated alumni wall. Slowly, the chilling sensations in the dorm ceased, the shadows retreated, and Emma's nightmares diminished. Yet sometimes, late at night when the building creaks and sighs, Emma still senses a ripple in the corner of her vision, a soft whisper of thanks escaping the forgotten corners of the dormitory. A lingering presence no longer trapped but freed by memory and acknowledgement. For more stories, like and subscribe.